Hello everyone, welcome to Aquarius Rising in depth plus Saturn, the ruling planet in all houses. The rising sign is so much more than just personality. The rising sign influences every area of your life. It's the first moment of your incarnation in this life. Therefore, areas such as wealth, health, career, family, friendships, relationships, everything can be seen directly from this chart. And if you know where Saturn is placed in the house of your chart, please read for that also. It contains important karmic destiny information. This reading is from the sidereal zodiac, the original fixed stars, and so therefore if you are Western based and you think you have Aquarius rising, check out that you do by taking 23 degrees away from that rising degree. If you find that you are Capricorn, there's a link below so you can check out that reading for you. If you are Aquarius, welcome to the club of a very unusual set of people. Let's begin. So what then is making Aquarians so different? First of all, it's rare to have Aquarius rising, very rare. In the total of humanity, only a small proportion actually have Aquarius rising at birth because the sign Aquarius passes very quickly over the eastern horizon. So you are unique if you are Aquarius rising. We also need to get to grips with the mystery around the symbolism of the man apparently just pouring water from a vessel onto the ground. What's the meaning of this? Well, I never really understood this until I came to the Vedic system. This is known as Kumbha. Kumbha means water vessel. So this sign is about a water vessel. But what has happened to the water vessel? Do you know? Well, the secret is that the water vessel, the pitcher, is broken. It's broken, and that's why this water is just tumbling out in this way. What does this symbolize? Well, this is the penultimate sign, the last but one sign of the zodiac. The whole zodiac is a journey to liberation, starting in Aries, which is the birth of man into this material manifestation. Pisces is liberation. So the final step before liberation is Aquarius. And what has to happen is the ego of man, represented by this water pitcher, has to be broken. So this means that Aquarians are dealing with ego issues in a very big way. They may not even be aware of it, but what it comes down to is their ego, their sense of self, is actually quite fragile. What this means is that a lot of their focus is on the 7th house from themselves, ruled by the Sun and Leo. So what they are focused on is everybody else, not themselves. The whole focus of Aquarius is service to humanity, having an idealistic set of beliefs and putting them into practice. Aquarians are concerned with the collective of humanity more than their individual self, the complete opposite of Leo. So the purpose of Aquarian existence is to actually serve humanity in the highest level selflessly. But they have two rulers, don't forget. One is Shani and one is Rahu. This sign is not ruled by Uranus. Uranus is a transpersonal planet. It cannot carry personal karmas. So if you have this sign rising, check where Saturn is in your chart. And I'll be discussing that on this very video. But also, where is Rahu in your chart? Where is the north node of the moon? Very important. There is in fact a strong dichotomy between this Saturnine factor in their psyche and the Rahu factor that creates some tension in their life. Saturn is humanity based, serving humanity from his multicone sign Aquarius, but he is a bit detached. He is not emotional. He is a bit remote. And he is definitely a little bit shy even sometimes. But Rahu is a complete opposite. Extrovert, controversial, political, on the stage of life, revolutionary. So these two sides have to find a way to be integrated in every Aquarian, and most of them manage it, but it creates some tension because they absolutely need stability in their life. They're a fixed sign. They like tradition, they like history, they like the past, they like things the same. It makes them feel secure. But part of their personality, part of their psyche and their sole purpose is to stir up things, to make things change in our world, to start things from a new vantage point. That is Rahu. So sometimes they even surprise themselves when one of these sides comes to the fore. But all Aquarians, whether Saturnine or Rahu based or a good blend of both, one thing they are for sure is highly independent. This independence dominates everything about Aquarius. Yes, you simply cannot tell an Aquarian what to do. You cannot force them or even suggest to them any course of action because they have to make up their mind themselves. And this fierce independence, even detached emotional nature, makes it hard to get close to them sometimes, hard to really know them deeply. So when Aquarians find themselves in need of help, here's the thing, they can't reach out. They really don't like to ask other people for help, and they can suffer in silence very often. But one time they will never sit in silence, however, is when there is injustice in society. They are the agitators, demonstrators, those who are going all out to correct things and make a difference. They can be really forthright in this, really, even sometimes some Aquarians even aggressive in this, no holes barred for their cause. And of course, like all air signs, Aquarians are extremely intelligent. They can go to the highest academic field because they are naturally Saturnian, studious, and Rahu gives them extreme innovation. They absolutely go to the new ground. When they research things, it's always absolutely cutting edge and, as I say, groundbreaking. So they are very unique people offering a very special service to humanity. They've just got to make sure they take care of their own needs a little bit more sometimes. Now, when it comes to family background, early family environment and wealth, Jupiter has taken control of this house from Pisces. So it's a very fluid family environment. There can be lots of changes in their early family life, but there's a real feeling of community too, because Pisces gives that spiritual values in that family, which is nurturing in some way. Now, Jupiter, Saturn have a neutral factor, but Jupiter, Rahu are not always friends. So what's happening is that Aquarius breaks away from that early family tradition. They go their own way, even though they appreciate all they have been taught. And they are very sentimental about their early family. They are nevertheless extremely independent, going their own way, forming their own value system that may be completely different to their early family environment for sure. Now, when it comes to wealth, here's the problem. Jupiter will give wealth. Aquarians often work hard in their profession and attract wealth once they find it, because it takes them a while, as I'm going to discuss on this video, to find that niche. Okay, but they accumulate wealth. But here's the problem. They don't care about it enough. Deep down, they know it's not what they are here for. So sometimes they lose wealth. Sometimes they are a little bit careless with wealth. That's the Pisces factor. But they can certainly accumulate it because Jupiter is fortunate for this in their life. The third house in the Aquarian chart is ruled by Aries, the fire sign, the warrior, no friend to Saturn, their ruler, and certainly an agitator of Rahu, their co-ruler. There is difficulty here, difficulty with siblings, difficulty with travel. And although not a difficulty with communication, they are very good speakers, very good lecturers sometimes, very good educators. All of these factors, communication is in some way troublesome for them because Mars is the agitator inside. They are so determined to put out their message that sometimes that they can be too forthright, even aggressive as they put forth their ideals. Now, siblings is probably where it all began. Sibling conflict, most definitely. Aquarians just really have at least one sibling who they have a really, really difficult time with. You know, you have to look at where Mars is placed and how Mars is serving you in your chart. And of course, D3 chart has to be seen for sure. But generally speaking, there is at least one serious sibling concern. Sometimes there can be even violence or difficulty between siblings that really gets physical. It can be scary if Mars is afflicted, but generally though, it's just a real inability to connect with one sibling. But on the contrary factor, if you have a well aspected Mars, there is one sibling who supports you, who you feel so connected with. You are warriors together on a similar journey that can be helpful to you. Travel is not easy for this rising sign at all because it often becomes challenging, difficult. You're a fixed sign. You find movement disturbing to your very psyche. So traveling short distance, even long distance, is not always helpful to you. Communication problems, yes. You are very forceful in your values. You are very forceful in how you communicate, and sometimes you can get people's backs up. Aquarians can have serious confrontations that are not really what they want at all, and they're always having to go back over what they've said and correct everything so that people don't take it the wrong way. It can be a tricky area, but Mars gives you skill in this area too. Aquarians can be extremely skilled ICT communicators, media communicators, extremely skilled at writing, have a real way with words that convinces others. Very often this skill will come into your career because Mars is also ruler of your 10th house. Now, one area that works really well for Aquarius is the home. Home, country, family background is normally fairly stable despite, as I said, a bit of instability early on because Venus is ruler here. So this actually gives stability to them in their domestic sphere. It gives a feeling of pleasure, comfort, security from Taurus in the home. It's like Aquarians need a place to retreat from all of that fighting for their cause, from all of the conflicts they can sometimes get themselves involved in. And their home is truly their sanctuary. It's Taurus led, so it actually has quite an earthy atmosphere to it. They like a comfortable home, but not in a very flowery way, but just in a down-to-earth comfort aspect. And home is also a quite sociable situation also because Venus brings other people into their home. Often people from different cultures come into their home as Venus is the 9th house Lord. So home is generally extremely fortunate. Venus is a friend to Shani and Rahu. So they can often have a very large, comfortable home. All depends on Venus aspects and condition. But on the whole, their sense of safety and security comes from this homely sanctuary that they create for themselves. Now, because the 4th house also represents one's country of origin and one's culture, Aquarians have a very strong attachment to this, a real feel for their own cultural background. It's really important to them. And Venus also indicates that they are most themselves, most relaxed when they are at home. People who come into their home are surprised to see a different side almost to the Aquarian personality, and that's when they make their very best friends. The fifth house of education and children is another extremely favourable area for Aquarius rising. Why? Because Mercury is a great friend to Saturn and indeed to Rahu. So their intelligence is of the topmost. Even if they do not go to the highest educational factor, they could do if they wanted to. But wherever life takes them, they have a high level of analysis always. They know how to break things down, to research, to analyze. They have a very sharp intellect indeed, and they enjoy learning. They are great students. They are superb researchers, as I say, very often scientists. But when it comes to children, they are a little bit unique here. Mercury is not a very maternal sign or paternal sign. They actually get on better with their kids when they are a little bit older and they can have conversations with them. How many kids you will have, you have to check. Where is Mercury? And of course D5 chart and D7 as well. But there is an important factor here. Mercury also rules the 8th house of sudden events and changes. So very often education, even though they are so intelligent and love learning, really do love it, is often broken. And children, there can be unexpected happenings there as well. But no matter what happens, it normally works out fine because Mercury is a very fortunate planet indeed for this sign. Finally, creativity. Aquarians are creative with their spoken and written word to an extremely high degree. This is because this is what Mercury rules. Mercury gives them the ability to communicate in an in-depth, meaningful way. This can actually get them high earnings in some cases also. Now, the 6th house of the Aquarian chart is ruled by Cancer and the Moon. This indicates health and conflicts in general. This is a tricky combination for Aquarius. Their emotions cause conflict in themselves and with other people. They can have the most disturbing conflicts, often, as I've just discussed, because of their type of agitation and political agenda. Some Aquarians, but it's going to impact on their health. They are very susceptible to moon concerns like stomach concerns, and everything about digestion needs a very special consideration. Also circulation system, because this is the opposite sign to Leo. So cardiovascular factors are very, very sensitive for this sign indeed. Now, Aquarius is also concerned with the bone area because Saturn rules bones and skeleton. So arthritis can become an issue also. There seems to be quite a lot of health concerns here. There are, but luckily Aquarius, because of being Rahu ruled, normally like exercise, like to keep fit if they are strong with that Rahu, which is a very fortunate factor here. Now, when it comes to conflicts, these can be quite serious because the moon is a very sensitive entity. Aquarians don't like conflict. They really shy away from it. They just hate it. They just want to get smoothly on with all of their projects in life. They don't want to be drawn into lawsuits and all of this stuff. But if they do, it's very difficult for them. Second factor is mother relationship, because moon is mother. Sometimes mother is not on their wavelength. There are some emotional issues there as well. So it's not an easy area at all for this sign. Now, the 10th house of career is ruled by Scorpio and Mars. This is a very intense area for Aquarius. There can be difficulty and karmic factors here. Check how Mars is strong for you or not. If Mars is afflicted as your 3rd house lord as well, there can be many sudden changes here. Many dramatic sudden changes that throw you off completely, where you have to transform yourself from one career to another career, because Scorpio is a transformative factor. It's up at the top and then it's down at the bottom. Aquarians are often self-employed. They love to work for themselves. Sometimes they can be very good business people because they have a real feel for partnership. I'm going to come to the 7th house in a minute, but it links in here. They do very well in a business partnership, and they often have these sudden dramatic ups and downs, however, but with a steady partner supporting them, they can get over these without doubt. But many Aquarians like the steadiness and reliability of a fixed income from employment. So you have to see what Mars is actually doing for you, if it favors self-employment or employment, and check in that D10 chart also. But whatever you do, one thing for sure, you're going to have problems from time to time because of this Mars energy also ruling 3rd house. So unexpected factors like problems with the boss, problems with co-workers keep on cropping up and have to be dealt with. But in the end, Aquarians find their niche, and they are far better when they rise up that ladder and have independence in their career. They need to be in charge. They need to be getting on with things in their own unique way. They need their own special space in their workplace. Scorpio rules secret factors. Aquarians like to have their own office, their own space that they can have how they want it, and that makes them feel really, really great. So they are very determined. They can go to the very top of any profession for sure. Finally, we come to perhaps the most important factor, surprisingly, in Aquarius chart, relationships. Why is it so important? It's ruled by the sun. Wherever the sun rules in any chart, it's lit up so brightly. Aquarians need a partner, a spouse, a relationship. It's quite surprising because we think of these independent, quirky individuals, slightly aloof, slightly detached, doing their own thing. Why is it so important for them to have a partner? Because they are not very good at the small talk of society. They are not very good at the necessary social factors of life. And they need a supportive mate because deep down, if they really sat and thought about it, they doubt themselves more than they would dare to say. They need that supportive soulmate, lighting up their life, lighting up the way and supporting them. And they are often with a well-aspected, strong sun. You have to check where the sun is, very likely to get that really special soulmate. But here's the thing, just because it's a soulmate relationship won't make it smooth. The sun and Saturn and Rahu, their rulers, are not friends. So there is inevitably a level of conflict in their relationships, but this does not often break the relationships. If the sun is strong, despite the conflict, this can go on for a long time. And it's not always unsatisfactory. You see, Aquarians have two scenarios generally seen. They can attract with a strong sun a very self-sufficient, confident, sociable spouse who is in every way taking care of all of the nitty-gritty of their everyday life and allowing them the freedom to get on with their own thing. And it's a very helpful factor. Or with an ill-aspected sun, they can attract someone who's a very strong ego as well, but in a not positive way. Maybe sometimes a little bit narcissistic, a bit self-centered. And then we have an Aquarian who's always having to put so much energy into the relationship. So that's why the sun is there. They have to keep on trying to make the relationship work. Now, this can be draining for them. They have to be really careful that they don't fall for these narcissistic, self-centered types, because they are very susceptible to them. Why? Because of the picture being broken, because deep inside their own sense of self is weak, and narcissistic people can be attracted to people with a weakly functioning ego. But they needn't worry too much, because in the end what tends to happen is fate steps in. If their ruler is strong, they inevitably find the right mate for them, because Saturn wants to perform a duty in society, and Saturn's karmic goal is to perform that. And to have that happen, the sun has to light up that path for Shani. Despite the difficult Sun-Saturn relationship, in the end, they often find a suitable partner. Finally, the importance of the rising sign lord, everybody, cannot be underestimated. Saturn's house position shows some unfinished karma that will urgently need to be attended to in this life. And you also need to check, as I said earlier on, Rahu's position, equally important. Check the link below. I have a full playlist of every house position of Rahu, most important. But Shani is the immediate factor, because Shani is your 12th house lord as well. So it's not easy to complete these karmas, but you're going to be forced to and driven to them again and again. Let's explore. So if you have Saturn as your ruling planet in the first house in Aquarius, you have a very special destiny and a quite good deal of help in achieving it as well. Saturn is so strong in his own Multricone sign. You are a unique individual. You are highly independent, highly somewhat different to the crowd. You even look slightly different and unique. You present yourself as a very quirky, unique individual, but Saturn gives you gravitas as well. You attract people to your personality. You have a mission in life to accomplish. And because Saturn is the 12th house lord, you definitely go to foreign lands. You definitely have karmic debt in these foreign lands to complete. But your most important purpose is to find yourself, to ground yourself in some larger political purpose. This is a very political position, because Aquarius is about politics. So even if you're not actively involved in politics as such, you get involved in the smaller aspects of it, maybe in your workplace, union aspects, whatever, or you involve yourself fully in some ethical social cause. Okay, the slight issue is that Saturn rising holds you back until Saturn return. Saturn return at 30 shows you your true path in life. And from then on, some of that slight lack of surety, that slight lack of confidence that is inevitably there with a first house Saturn completely disappears. Now, when Saturn as your ruler from Aquarius has gone into the second house in Pisces in your chart, you have some difficult, tricky karmas here with your family of origin. There can be a lot of fluidity, maybe a lot of moving around early in life, and a real feeling of insecurity and instability in that early family environment, which is disturbing to your psyche. You are seeking stability as an Aquarian. You are seeking fixity. There can be a real conflict with your early family members, and maybe separation from them that may be long term, but have a guess what? Saturn gives you a karmic debt to your family. So even though you may seek to escape, you are never able to, and you have to come back to support perhaps family members later in life. So there may be some very strong difficulties shown, but Saturn is a dutiful planet. So in this kind, caring sign of Pisces, you do your duty by your family in the end. But family finances finally are also very, very difficult for you. There can be some loss there where you may have expected some sort of inheritance which you do not get. So karmic debt has to be paid back in a very dutiful way here. And as regards your finances, they definitely get far better after marriage. After marriage, it will increase for you financially, because Saturn is a slow growth. And here's the other factor. Saturn is aspecting the 11th house of your chart. So marriage factors, business factors, sometimes second house will increase income slowly over time. So very often with this Saturn, you start life with a very low income situation, even poverty for some people, but you get to a real sense of security later in life. So when Saturn as the ruler of Aquarius has gone into Aries in the third house, there's some definite tricky karmas that need immediate attention with siblings. There can be a real loss of a sibling, a difficult occurrence with a sibling that scars you sometimes for life. There can be separation from siblings, or even no siblings at all, which you feel acutely. But sibling issues are definitely karmic. But it's more than that. Your communication is maybe held back. There may be speech issues. There may be concerns with language, having a new language to learn maybe, that holds you back. And it affects education most certainly because of this third aspect of Saturn. So there are some definite hiccups in your early education and even later education, maybe leaving a course and so on, that set you back temporarily though, because Saturn is not too badly placed in Aries, even though people think of it as debilitation. Mars gives strength, although he's an enemy of Saturn, to your speech in the end, to your purpose, to your skill. So Saturn here can make you multi-skilled. He can give you real talent here. Now, what that is, you need to see where Mars has gone and all of those factors. But Saturn's going to make you stand out in the end. Saturn third house gives you skill and gets you noticed. So you get noticed. You cannot be ignored, and you are determined to absolutely go full out for your cause. Third house makes you an agitator in the end, a demonstrator, a protester. But Saturn gives you issues here. You can really get yourself into sticky wickets here sometimes, but you can't avoid the conflict. You have to go for it because you took birth to fight for this cause, and that is absolutely certain. So Saturn as the ruler of Aquarius has gone into the fourth house in Taurus. Home, culture and stability in that home is essential to you. A very strong karmic link to your early culture, to your family of origin, and a mother conflict sometimes, or a very strong link with your mother. But Saturn gives a detachment there too, a feeling of loss sometimes because it's the 12th house lord. So mother issues can be there, loss of home can be there, loss of stability can be there. But your karmic destiny is to change all that and to make it work for you long term. You want to feel safe, stable, secure, and you will in the end increase property and find that secure home base for yourself. You are also here to stabilize other people in your home environment. So you can often find that a lot of the burden of your home falls onto your shoulders, and that's all a part of your karmic destiny here. Also, Saturn fourth house can create for some people a little lack of confidence, again early on because of this quadrant house position, but you become an extremely strong-willed person over time and an absolute rock of stability for other people in your family. So Saturn, ruler of Aquarius, has gone into Gemini in the 5th house. This is definitely going to give you some issues with your education. Often it's a definite karmic thing where you have left education, not made the most of your opportunities last life, and here you are again feeling that need to maybe move away from a course, maybe change things because you don't have that deep confidence in your abilities intellectually. Even though you are highly intellectual, highly intelligent, you just lack that confidence. And what Saturn does is it makes you put on a very good show to the world. You seem as though you are fine with everything, but inside you feel this lack of skill. But after 30 years of age, educational factors sort out for you definitely here. Saturn aspects the 11th house, so a delay in your income creation can be also karmic as well. But in the end, of course, Saturn will give you stability and increase this for you. Finally, children. There can be maybe difficulty for some of you with at least one child, but not always, or they can be delayed for you. But you need to see where Mercury has gone to make final decision. So Saturn, as your ruler from Aquarius, has gone into Cancer in the 6th house. Some challenges coming from past lives, most definitely. Particularly mother relationship is absolutely going to show that this life. But here's the thing, you are the motherly person who is hiding so much of that compassion. Saturn Cancer makes you a very sensitive person, extremely sensitive, even sometimes reclusive, because Saturn aspects the 12th house of isolation. You've got to put yourself into the world, into the social sphere more, because you have taken birth to serve humanity, to heal humanity. And first of all, you have to heal this lack of self-belief, because you have an incredible gift to the world of compassion, and that is absolutely why you took birth. But hidden away in this 6th house, it may take you until Saturn returns here at 30 to truly come out of your shell and serve humanity. You may be medically inclined because this is the 6th house of medicine, but either way, take care of your own health, because Saturn can give you stomach upsets and stress, worry factors, but ultimately Saturn is protective here. Saturn protects 6th house. Why? He has his 3rd aspect on the 8th house. So sudden events, tragedies in life, you overcome them all, and you are here actually to overcome them and then help other people. You can be a superb counselor, healer, helpmate in this world. So you want to come out of your shell and find that purpose, because it is definitely karmic. So Saturn, as your ruler in Aquarius, is in the 7th house in Leo. This is a very strong position with a quite opposing meanings, because on the one hand you are an extremely strong person because Saturn is in a Dig Bala position. This is your ruler in a Dig Bala strong position. You are very important in your society, in the actual job which you do, but you do not like authority. You do not bow down to anybody, and here's the thing, you often attract a very strong-willed mate, and it gets conflicting at times for sure. Saturn can delay marriage here or give you a fear of it sometimes, but ultimately it's definitely karmic because this is your Lord. So you are going to have to get involved in some very important destined relationship for sure. Saturn gives you a presence in society and you grow in confidence as you get past 30 for sure. 30 is like the moment at which you mature into who you are meant to be. And very important people come into your life at that time, not necessarily marriage, but very important people who actually guide you. So you are independent, but you are going to become involved in a very karmic relationship, and you also gain great confidence when you are in a partnership. Ultimately, partnerships bring you out of your shell, and that has to be good. So Saturn as your ruler from Aquarius has gone into the 8th house now, into Virgo. This has some favorable factors to it, but it's going to bring you great transformation in your life. You need to check where is Rahu to have a counterbalance to this as your co-ruler for sure. But Saturn here is going to make you someone who pushes against the odds, someone who likes to find out what the truth is about any situation. You like to dig deep. Your whole karma here is as a researcher, maybe scientist, as an individual who is doing a lot of academic study. You love to do secret research work, maybe occult science, but not always, but certainly, obviously, if you're listening here, astrology, you have a great talent here. What's going to happen is that sudden factors in your life will throw you off course from time to time. These are completely karmic and may be to do with family finance and spousal finance. But don't worry, Saturn can do well in this house. He is Karaka here, and he is the Multricone Lord from Aquarius. So actually, Saturn can stabilize things over time. So you have to get used to a very choppy life with major transformations actually, but all of these things make you stronger. So Saturn, the ruler of your ascendant from Aquarius, has gone into Libra in the 9th house. This is a very favorable factor because Saturn is exalted. This means that you grow in confidence over your lifespan. You may start off with a really fragile sense of self, but you grow in stability and assurance. There may be father issues often seen. There may be foreign, distant land concerns. Education may be certainly upset at many times, and you have to leave behind courses and it seems to be going nowhere. But Saturn, Libra will make up for all that in the end. Father concerns are healed in some way. Education goes well in the end, and you benefit from foreign lands no matter how much you have difficulty there to begin with. So Saturn gives you high intelligence here. Real sense of being able to balance out factors in your life. You are a diplomat. You are someone who knows how to get on with everybody. So in the end, Saturn here aids success due to your past karmic factors here. So why are you here? You are here to balance out factors in your life. So all of these disturbances like education, father concerns, foreign concerns are balanced out in the end. Saturn is testing you for one thing here. He is testing your patience. Stay strong. It works out in the end. So Saturn as your ruling planet from Aquarius has gone into Scorpio in the 10th house. This is extremely karmic position indeed. Strong karmas connected with your career status are here. There may be a slow climb to success and then a sudden fall for some people. But if Saturn is well aspected here, that won't happen. Instead, you will be transforming career. There can be a complete career change at any time in your life, particularly Saturn return. So at 30, 60, there's a huge switch over into a new beginning. But you are a workaholic. You love to work. You love to be focused on your working life. It's essential. It's who you are. You can't imagine yourself without a job. You can't imagine yourself without a position in society. Status is very important to you. So yes, there may be rises and then falls. Yes, there will be many changes in your career, but Saturn gives you a real ability in Scorpio to rise from the ashes every time. This is because of past life karma, and so you have to face these situations again. Saturn gives you internal strength here to overcome many of these challenges. So Saturn is the ruler of Aquarius. Your ascendant has gone into the 11th house, into Sagittarius. This is a really interesting position because Saturn is strong by house more than by sign. So you are a philosopher inside. You are doing humanitarian work from the beginning of your life. You want to find out what is the meaning of life, and at the same time you want to not waste your time on too much study, but to get out there in the world, and you want to make a difference. But Saturn makes you a bit of a loner even sometimes because of this highly studious, researching nature. You may not have a huge amount of friends. Of course, you have to check for other planets here, but one or two of those friends are going to stick with you and are definitely karmic factors from past life, here to help you, and you are here to help them. So definite karmas with your friendship circle, without doubt. Saturn, he is going to raise income for you slowly. After many delays and many setbacks, you finally find that reliable source of income for sure. And Saturn here can increase your wealth, sometimes in foreign lands as well, because Sagittarius is foreign lands. So Saturn, as the ruler of Aquarius, has gone into Capricorn, his own sign, in the 12th house. This has many important factors to it. First of all, Saturn's going to give you a very strong personality, but a reclusive one sometimes. You don't seek limelight often. Of course, you have to check where is Rahu. As your second co-ruler, he could change everything here. But whatever, you are a researcher, someone who likes to spend a lot of time alone studying, researching. You are very, very much into the occult, into the mysteries of life. You are religious, but in a traditional way, and you gain so much from foreign lands. But Saturn gives a fear factor here too. So you may decide that you can't believe in your religion anymore. You find that you have lost all of your faith sometimes. It all depends on Saturn's aspects. But Saturn is so strong in this sign that in the end he stabilizes your life. He stabilizes your belief systems, and you find truth in life. Saturn's certainly going to take you to foreign lands as a karmic experience. This is linked to past life situations. So where you go in these foreign land experiences is directly where you've been before, and you will feel this in your absolute soul. So you are here to grow in your own confidence. You are here to help others, but in a very quiet, unextrovert way, to absolutely be of service. You know how to control expenses too, because Saturn is in a Vipri Raj Yoga. He is in his own sign as the 12th house Lord. So you are very canny with your expenses. You never go over that credit limit by this placement. But of course, Rahu may have different ideas for you. Have a check of that position also. Up on your screen now, the playlist of Rahu in all houses of your chart. Check that out. So important for Aquarius Rising. Sub to my channel also if you haven't. Goodbye for now, and God bless you all.